Hello everybody, welcome to Tuesday's Transformational Tip. My name is Kimberly and I'm a little bit excited to do this video. Well, excited, oh gosh, okay. There was no practice run for this. So 2 weeks ago I did a video on a healing session that I was doing with someone that I felt had betrayed me 10 years ago, and I realized that I had been stuck with that. Well, fast forward a few days, because I'm doing this video way before it's going to be released, just so I don't forget any of the magic of this healing. So there were many different layers to that healing, as there are with all the healings that I do inside. So when I go in and I start digging, when I say I introspect and I dig, I spend like a whole day doing this to really get through the layers, and I pay attention to what my reality is feeding back to me. So when I was doing the healing, yes, I was in touch with the betrayal and the lie, and then I, coming to the present moment, realizing that the pain I was holding was amplifying my perception of what betrayal is. Like, how big of a deal is this? Now, it was very innocent the way it all played out, but what I realized since then is there were layers to that was amplifying my perception of betrayal. And what I mean by that is it was more this whole male dominant power dynamic that was helping me have resentment on top of lie, betrayal. I want to be very careful about this conversation because, well, for obvious reasons, right? And the whole discussion between male dominant power and all of that, the two sides of that, and feminism, I don't want to get into in this video because I haven't even gotten to the bottom of it myself in my own mind. And so what I want to say is, when I kept digging, I realized that I had a lot of resentment towards males, but it wasn't obvious. See, this is the interesting part. If you would ask me before I realized this, do you? I would say, well, no, not really, but I did, and it was a lot. There was a lot of resentment there, and I felt somehow that I had a ceiling of my own potential as female as to what I could achieve. Now, it wasn't like, oh, I can't achieve anything because I'm female. We don't go around thinking like that, right? This thing about limiting beliefs, they're buried and they're deep and they're a part of our paradigm and we don't even know it. That's why I think it's so worth it to go on the hero's journey. That's like a really important aspect of it, because for 46 years now I've been living with this feeling of this ceiling over me, and it made me angry, and it made me resentful, and it made me frustrated, and it was affecting my health. Because that triangle that I was telling you about 2 weeks ago of the fitness and the food and the health, this is where the emotions, this is where it was coming from. That's what it was affecting. It was affecting food, fitness, and health. You see? And I can already feel the difference of having addressed that inside. I keep going down here. It's like my solar plexus area and downward. I already see the difference of it. And so in my own life, let's go back for a second. Like I said, whether it's true or not is not what this video is about. And we can, that's a whole discussion in itself. And like I said, I want to be very careful about how I say this, because my intention is not to talk about rights and what's true and what's not true and how it's all played out. Because yes, that's a whole different story. And so I want to be really careful. But in my own life personally, I would say that yes, culture, I guess, has imposed that on us. It's everywhere in our culture scape, as Vishen Lakhiani calls it. But also in my own personal life, I would say that that was more imposed upon me probably by women, which is really interesting, right? So wherever it came from, just like all limiting beliefs, it doesn't matter. Do we really get to the root of it? I will probably never know where that came from, whether it came from the general, whether it came from a specific person, whether it came from someone in my family, a teacher, or just all of it combined. It doesn't matter. Does it serve me right now? Is it serving me right now? No, in my life right now, it doesn't serve me to hold on to that. And I don't even have a choice to hold on to it anyway, because when I did that healing, it let go. I even had a dream about it the next night. And then from the frills of my awareness, was just how it always happens to me. I go through the healing, and then a few days later, it comes to me when I'm least expecting it, doing the dishes or doing laundry or in the shower. It just hits me what it was all about, like in words. So I have the energetics and I have the emotions, and I just fall into that and allow it. I confront it and I allow it. I just let it go. And then the theory, so to speak, comes with it to tell me exactly what I did release. It happens to me like that all the time. It's been happening to me for 10 years like that. And I'm still, I'm still flabbergasted at how long I have been going through this journey. And I'm still so surprised at how our limiting beliefs can completely shape our reality. Because now when I think back, now that it's in my conscious mind, it was brought forward, now I can see it. I can see the detail through my day of when I was resenting a male. I can see how that played out specifically during certain situations. I can see even my interactions with other women where that would come out, and there would be like a in my words or in how I was feeling. But it was always beyond my awareness where that was coming from. So if you are doing something like I'm doing, and you're really looking to find out how much potential you have, or how much better life can get, or you're just interested in living the vision that you see for yourself, I think this is what the work is all about, getting to the bottom of it, getting underneath everything that's not serving us anymore. Maybe, I'm sure that I'm not one to say, I wish that didn't happen, or I know everything serves a purpose. And I know that the last 10 years, I needed that limiting belief to keep in structure kind of what I have, which is what I wanted 15 years ago. And so everything I wanted played out. And it doesn't matter what kind of woman I am, or the role that women play in certain phases of their life. It always changes. And so I can be of many different types of women. I have been, and they've played out differently all through the stages of my life. And now I'm moving into a new stage of my life because my kids are getting a little bit older. And so I have more time. And so I can focus on myself, and I can focus on the business aspect of what I want to create. Well, another business aspect, because I already have a business. So it's really interesting that was serving me then, but it's not necessary for the next phase of my life. So I don't think we necessarily need to have regret about that, because last night I was just like floored at how I've had that for all these years and didn't even recognize it straight on the way it is. And realizing then that, okay, it's amazing that I know right now, and it must mean that the next phase of my life, it's not necessary. And so I think it's a really useful way to look at it, because I don't really think of things in terms of good, bad. I think of things as useful. I've said that before, and whether that's true or not, it works for me and it gives me a great outcome. I'm just optimistic like that. I just think of it as useful. So it was useful then, it's not useful anymore. So it also means that the work that I'm doing, I am moving into a whole new paradigm every time. Well, every day, I guess, but every time I learn something like this that's really foundational for the whole structure of my reality, it's changing all the time, and it does mean that I'm moving into a new phase. So it's going to be really interesting to see where this all unfolds from here. But I thought, because I said 2 weeks ago, I said I'll give you the update of where this all unfolds. And so, yeah, there was, just for the record here, there was another healing session that I did after the one I talked about 2 weeks ago, which was very intense. It was very intense. And it was me feeling like really angry and sad and resentful. And there was so much emotion in me. There was so much fire inside, like mixed with passion of, I have this goal and I have this place. I almost felt homesick for the vision that is calling me forward. I have lived it so many times in my mind, as I have other visions, like for example, where I am right now. And I felt homesick for it. You know, that homesick feeling? I don't think I felt that since I was a kid. It was so strange. Actually, I did feel it once when I kind of started in this whole journey to transformation. I call it the hero's journey, my personal hero's journey. But it was so painful. It was so painful. And that was what led me to realizing that, and the energetics of it was, I felt like this, like for my ambitions, for my goals, for my vision, it was like there was this on top of me, and then my vision was on top of it. So releasing that whole belief was like releasing that ceiling that I had above me, like that. That's how it felt energetically. I hope I'm explaining it well. So I just think it's really interesting how limiting beliefs are and how we can get our way around it. And I think, like I said before, layers had to come off before that kind of realization surfaced. So it's so interesting. I just think it's something to look out for if you are actively on a path and doing something. The best way to see all of this and the best way for it to be revealed, I can honestly say that the last year of being in business for myself, not my joint business, but business for myself, I have had more transformation in the doing of, in taking the steps, like, okay, I'm going to throw myself into it and let's see what happens. I've had more growth in the actual action steps of making my dreams come true than I have in the last 10 years, like the 9 years before, of thinking about it. Yes, I had a lot of foundation. How do I say that? There was a lot of heavy emotions that I have released. It's kind of hard to sit and track the whole 10 years for you and kind of lump it into sections, because there's no real dates and there's no real times of what happened when. But I really feel like the last year, there has been so much growth in actually doing the steps, step by step, and encountering the limiting beliefs as I'm trying to push through that barrier, so to speak, that invisible barrier that we have. You know, like, oh my God, you know, and kind of encountering the disappointments as they come up. And it's like they're there to help us get to the other side. That's the moral of the story. But I've had more growth in the last year than I think I have ever had before that, just because I'm on the path and I put myself there. I'm there and I'm actually doing the action steps. So I think that if we are trying to achieve something, if we're trying to manifest our vision, like I said in one of the other videos, I think the best thing to do is keep our eye out for those things. And when we're doing things, do them as they come and encounter those fears as they pop up. And then we get like more of a stronger muscle to deal with those fears. It's not that the fears go away. It's just that we stand up to the challenge and our muscle gets stronger and our resilience get stronger. And then we start releasing those limiting beliefs as necessary to get to the next step. So this is, I'm sure, not the last one for me. I mean, I'm still flabbergasted every time it happens. It's been a while since I've been this flabbergasted, like, of this, since the 2 videos. Since the last 2 videos. So anyways, I hope this makes sense. And yeah, think about your limiting beliefs and think about getting on that path and doing what you need to do, and know that each one will come up as it's ready for the next phase. So if we do have limiting beliefs, it's important to look at them as useful for the time that they were there to teach us something, and then move forward without it to the next level, knowing that we have that under our belt now as perspective, insight, clarity. That is why I love these tools like tapping and like meditation. There is nothing else like it. Well, nothing else like it. They're my favorite. They're my favorite. There are other paths and other tools. Yes, for sure. And if you are using those, that is great. Whatever works for everyone is perfect. For me, that's what it's been. And I'm still like, wow, it's a wonder. I woke up this morning thinking, gee, I wonder what's going to happen today. Like, it's always so magical. Like, the magic it feels like it's increasing. Anyway, if you have any questions or concerns or want to contribute to this, please write me at info@KimberlyPatey.com. I'd love to hear from you and hear about what you have to say about all of this, or even your vulnerabilities, like things that you're going through. It's nice to know that, which is the whole purpose of why I'm doing this, to share that we're all going through the same stuff and that it's okay. And sometimes it's frustrating, but it's really nice to share that we're all going through this stuff and it's okay. It's okay. So thank you for being here. I'm so grateful for you all, and I will see you next week on Tuesday's Transformational Tip. Bye.